Good morning and welcome back to Nurses Speak. This is Tonya and this is Nurses Speak, the channel for Black nurses, nurses of color, and open to all nurses. This is the channel where no topic is off limits. So please like, subscribe, and share, and put your topic in the comments. And so, once again, I'm back just to share a few words with the community about mental health among healthcare providers. And this is quite crucial, particularly now. We're coming off the pandemic, and there's a lot of attention on the impact of burnout and exhaustion and understaffing and workplace violence and bias and discrimination and just a general insensitivity. And these are not new issues, by the way. So again, the fallout from the pandemic was that it just highlighted some pre-existing conditions, okay? And of particular importance, I want to just make a mention of this recent case that has been in the news around this nurse. I believe her name is Nicole Linton, out in California, who crashed her vehicle, her motor vehicle, into another vehicle, and 5 people died as a result of that incident. And according to the news articles about the case, her vehicle was traveling at around the speed of 130 miles per hour. She's undergoing legal action for that situation, obviously, because of those 5 deaths and the severity of that incident. And her defense team is saying she may have been having some lapse of consciousness that led up to the crash. And so while all of these things are being thoroughly investigated and we don't know what the outcome will be, it is also written in the articles that this nurse had a mental health history. So she had been in the past hospitalized for a mental health condition. It's also stated that she had in the past experienced catatonic state. She have also in the past been walking around, outdoors without clothing and just making statements about seeing deceased relatives and things of that nature. So without going into any more detail, because this is an ongoing case, I just want to bring, and she was working. Okay, let me get back to that. She was working, I believe, as a travel nurse, and quite a few years of experience as well. And the interesting thing about it is that her co-workers who knew her didn't really identify anything that was unusual about her behavior or her conduct that is being disclosed at this time. So for all intents and purposes, it appeared that she was going to work normally, able to carry out her duties without any issue in the workplace, and for the most part had a normal personality, right? And so it's not really clear whether or not she was on medication or had an issue with adherence with medication. I'm not really sure, but I just want to say that I feel very concerned about a situation where someone who's working as a nurse and has such significant mental health condition can wind up in a situation like this. And family members of hers knew that she had this condition. And it was known to them, but it was probably well concealed to the people that she was encountering on a day-to-day basis. And we don't even know what triggered that particular event, that led up to the crash, right? Because we don't know what's going on in a person's mind. We never know. And it's really important to be able to check in with each other, to have those safe spaces where we can talk and just bring up the issues that are affecting us, because the work is stressful enough. It can be stressful enough for those of us who don't have pre-existing mental health condition, and if there's anything underlying, for sure, a stressful job, a stressful life can trigger it. The more and more these issues are not addressed in a healthy way, they may lay dormant within the psyche for a time, but eventually they come to the surface and they have to be dealt with, right? And the thing about it is that we want to catch these events before it becomes a crisis. So it's very important, as we talk again about self-care and taking notice of what's going on in your body, in your mind, what type of thoughts are you having, how are you dealing with resolving conflicts within yourself and with others, and giving yourself the time and space to be away from work or away from family members and relationships that trigger negative thoughts, feelings, or just a sense of dis-ease within you, right? It's very important to put these various aspects of our life into perspective so that we have time to examine them, look at them, deal with them, work on our own coping mechanisms so that we are able to cope in a healthy way, okay? Because it's pretty unlikely to be able to eliminate stress from your life 100% of the time, 365 days out of the year, right? We will be encountering something at some point, but it's all about how we manage it, how we deal with it, how we address it. Do we internalize it, or do we strike out and lash out at others, or are we able to find a way to open up that release valve, open up that pressure release valve and just let it go? And some of the self-care tools we can talk about are deep breathing. You could do that at any moment, at any time, right? There's different forms of deep breathing you can do. Look into those. Find one that's comfortable, that works for you, and allow yourself to just release some of that built up pressure from within you. Meditation is another thing, okay? That can be done pretty much anywhere, anytime. Now, for those with mental health condition, meditation may not be always advisable, but make some time for quietness. Make some time to be separate and apart. You need that. You don't always have to have an environment full of stimuli, whether it be work or your home. If you're in any chaotic situation, get away from it for a little while, even if it's just 15 minutes. Step outside, go for a walk, go for a jog or swim, whatever you feel like doing. Listen to some music that you enjoy. These are things that we can do to reconnect with ourselves, to get in touch with our own feelings, and sometimes to allow some of that negative energy to just flow out and dissipate and not internalize it to the point where it becomes, a powder keg just waiting for, an explosive device to connect, and then, you go all off and all out. And, sometimes the outcome and the fallout can be really catastrophic in our own lives and the lives of others. So it's very, very important to not ignore things. When you have a feeling or a thought, to just let it go unaddressed. Put things in check, put things in perspective so that you remain in control of what's going on within you, in your internal environment. Because this is where these things always begin, okay? They begin there and they end there. And no matter what's coming at you from outside, it's what you do on the inside that will make the difference pretty much in your survival. And so, again, when I read about this nurse, it brought back to my mind, which is why I said that these issues, many of which are affecting nurses today, are not new issues because they impact nursing students as well. And I recall when I was in nursing school, and we going back to before 1990, right? I was in nursing school because I graduated in 1990. So I'll say somewhere between 88 and 90. A classmate of mine attempted suicide. And I happen to know that this person wasn't doing very well in the program. And I'm not saying I know any details about their life, but I do know that the program was challenging. I do know that it could be stressful. And I myself experienced significant anxiety and even sometimes, like mild panic attacks where I felt like I was having difficulty even breathing sometimes, and my heart would be racing, right, from the stress of this program. And I didn't tell anybody because at the time, it's almost like when you're learning about certain conditions, physiologically, we oftentimes tend to ascribe to ourselves the condition that we're learning about, right? So if you first start learning about tachycardia or, pulmonary emboli, things like that, every time your heart rate goes up or you have some chest pain, immediately you think, oh my God, I'm dying, right? I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that, but I have. And, I went to the doctor one time and when I had this condition, this palpitation and just feeling this pain in my chest. And, they check you out and they come back and, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine, what have you. And you go on about your business. If your blood pressure is normal, great. They won't do anything for you. But if your blood pressure tends to trend up, a doctor may try to put you on some medication. So you got to be mindful of that too. How your body reacts to certain mental conditions. Okay. And so eventually for me, with a lot of prayer and, steadfastness on my part, pretty much a lot of affirmations, I kind of eventually came out of that. But it did last for quite a while. I wasn't interested in taking any anti-anxiety medication or anything like that. I just wanted to work through it. Once I understood where it was coming from and why I was feeling a certain way, I took steps to manage that and calm myself, with my own breathing exercise. At the time, I wasn't even educated in breathing exercises. I just had to close my eyes sometimes, lay down, do some deep breathing, calm myself, feel my pulse, right? And I could feel like when I was in a more relaxed state, in a restful state, maybe darken the lights, turn off the lights in my own room and just lay down and, begin to breathe and pay attention to how my body was feeling. I calmed myself down. I found ways to self-regulate. And so I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that, but now I'm more aware. I have more tools and techniques that I can consciously use to help if I feel those symptoms arising. I know exactly what it is, right? I might be feeling tense or anxious or stressed about something. And, I'm having a physiologic response to those thoughts and feelings, right? So again, that's why the awareness, the inner awareness is so vital. And so getting back to this classmate that I know about. And so it was ironic because when we saw the news clip, this story was in the news, in the newspaper. And the student had jumped out of a building, jumped out of a window, and sustained multiple fractures throughout their body. And, even more interesting was that this person was taken to one of the hospitals that our college was doing clinical rotations at. So this classmate wound up being, I wouldn't necessarily say assigned to us to care for as one of our patients, because it might have been a little bit of a conflict of interest. I don't remember providing any care for the person, but I definitely remember seeing them there and going over and talking to them and letting them know, hey, you're going to be okay. We're all pulling for you. And I don't remember exactly what was the words that we spoke, but just seeing that person there laid up with all the external hardware, there was lower body fractures, upper body fractures, and clearly there was a long road to recovery ahead, not just physically, but in the mental capacity, right? Because obviously this person is going to be in need of some sort of psychotherapy in order to return into the community. But it just magnifies that sometimes when a person is so wrapped up in their identity in a particular path, a particular domain of education to an occupation that they may or may not be successful in, how stressful it can be, right? And we don't know. We can't prejudge or determine what the outcome to anyone's life story is going to be, because some people experience these traumatic events and it makes them stronger and more determined to do what they were going to do, what they were intending to do. Or it puts them on a whole new path in a different direction to do something else that they feel a greater affinity for. So you never can tell what the outcome is going to be. The only thing I know that is significant and of value is that those around are there to lend support. It's very important for the person in a situation like this to have a support system and be in an environment that's safe and non-judgmental, where they can express whatever they feel, however they feel, right? And, just be held and supported, because this is what we all want. We all want to know that we are valued and loved no matter what. And that comes from inside the womb to a very elderly person, to someone who's, in transition out of this worldly existence, right? We all want to feel safe and valued and loved no matter what. And in order for us to be able to give that to others, we have to give that to ourselves. We have to be able to look at ourselves and say to ourselves, I love you, I value you. You are important and you matter, no matter what. So even when mistakes are made, we're involved in some kind of a crisis or a challenge, whether personally or professionally, give that same grace and kindness that is expected that you give to others to yourself first, okay? Give yourself the forgiveness for your own mistakes. Give yourself some time and space and patience to learn and to grow, to make mistakes and to get the lesson from it, and, you know, give yourself whatever time is necessary to heal, but then to move on, right? Get up and shake off the dust and keep it moving, right? Because life is all about movement and motion. Stagnation is death. So even though we might want to feel a certain way, we don't want to feel that way, that negative way, for a prolonged period of time, because that's just going to suck the energy and diminish the life force that's within us. So every day when you get up and, you know, it's a new day, you can breathe, right? You can see, you can move. Hey, just, you know, get up and keep it moving, right? But when there's times when you need support and you need help, make those connections to get that for yourself. Because while we may spend time alone and with ourselves, that doesn't mean that we don't need the support of others in our life. And so I just want to encourage you all, no matter what you're going through, make time for your own needs. Build your own community and network of support, okay? And don't have any prejudgments on what that's going to look like or where that support is going to come from, because it may come from some unlikely places and some unlikely people. As you open yourself to receive, you might be delightfully surprised at what comes into your life to help you and to support you and to offer guidance. And so I'm outdoors enjoying this little, I don't know, man-made beach and lake in my community. And it's such a beautiful day, and the sky is so blue and the air is so fresh and crisp and cool. I just had to sit down and make a video and just offer some words of encouragement for my fellow healthcare professionals out there, nurses, doctors, therapists, social workers, all of the support staff, respiratory therapists, x-ray technicians, I don't know, people who take care of the environment, people in dietary and nutrition. Oh, the security workforce, I mean, the admin teams, everybody out there. You are important, you matter, you have worth within yourself, undefined by anything you do. And so just know that to be the truth of you. And enjoy the day wherever you are. Give yourself that time and space to step away and just commune with yourself. Get in tune with yourself. Learn to like and love yourself. Because when you can do that, you can be awesome. And no matter what, you're worthy. And you are enough. And you may have heard that before, but it's no cliche and it's worth repeating. You are worthy, you matter, and you are enough, no matter what. So, until next time, it was great seeing you all again, and share this channel with a friend. Let's get the word out that this is a channel for nurses where no topic is off limits. Bye now.